Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. This will be another episode on the CB550. I know last time I said there would only be one more episode. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it, but there's a good amount of work here, and I wanted to get a video out. I'm trying to do a every 2-week pace. So, please watch and enjoy. Thanks. Okay, so CB550. Still got a lot of stuff to do. I want to get the engine to spin over and have spark. So, in aid of doing that, I have to assemble the electrical box. So this is what the electric box should look like. It's got the voltage regulator and the rectifier and the turn signal flasher and the starter relay. And this one has a main fuse. One of them has I think this one's newer, so it has like this clutch safety thing, so you can't start it in gear. I think that worked, I'm not sure. And then it has a fuse box. Anyway, the whole fuse box thingy has to be put together. Here's the panel that I painted 4 months ago. So I'm going to put that all together, mount it up. I have to fix the ends on the rear brake switch, and the harness, wherever that is over here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, these are the ends for the brake switch, and they're wire nuts, so I want to put, regular pin style connectors on there, so I'll fix that. Battery, got a battery. Oh, no, there's the battery. The battery negative and positive cable. I'll have to figure that out. I forget where the negative goes. The positive just mounts right to the part of the starter solenoid. Fix brake switch. Tape up the harness. I think the harness is like this factory sheeting is all broken apart here, so I want to cut that off and tape that up so you don't see it. I remember that this had a ton of stuff in the headlight, and then a different one that I had taken apart, a lot of the connections were under the gas tank. So I'll have to figure out kind of like what goes where. Can any of this stuff fit under the gas tank? I don't know, or does it all belong in the headlight? I made it all fit before, so if it has to all go in the headlight, it can all go in the headlight. That's all the connections for the lights on the tach and the speedo, the idiot lights on this little gauge cluster, right? Those are all here. The on-off switch, the kill switch, the engine on-off, starter button, left-right turn signal, horn button, high-low, beam, and the headlight itself, which is here. That's where that went. I've been looking for that. Right. So I want to get the whole harness put back together, get the headlight mounted. I've got all this crap over here. I'm trying to get rid of all this stuff. Like the headlight. So, gonna sort that stuff out. So I want to get like all the electrical put back together, the headlight mounted, get the turn signals working again, get the brake lights working again, and get it so that the starter will work. Get the key switch wired up, the clutch lockout. Clean up and mount the stator. I don't know if it's called the stator or what this is called, but the thing with the coil on it and the magnet, so that's the magnet, this is the coil. There's many of these that say Honda on it, but all the ones I have are like mashed. There's one over here. See how that has a big scrape on it? So like even if I was to clean this up, I still have to deal with that scrape, and the scrape kind of scrapes away made in Japan. You know, see how it's really bad right there? So I have a whole bunch of them that are all versions of that. That all comes from like somebody dumping it. This one has this fin thing on it. I'll take these bolts out, clean those up, clean up some of this corrosion, and then mount this. Hopefully it works. So that has to go back on there. You got the oil pressure switch. I need to change that out because I don't trust it. So I found a. If you look up oil pressure switch for CB550, I couldn't find it, but it's the same one for CB750, and there's tons of those, and they're not expensive. So I got a couple. So I got to switch that out. So that's the oil pressure switch. It's just an on-off switch like the KZ1000. And there's a neutral light thing here to say whether or not it's in neutral. Okay, so I got to do that. What time is it? 12:30, just after lunch. Wrap the Kirker header pipe. Right, so the Kirker header pipe, so this had a Kirker on it when I got it. And you can see it's been wrapped before. All these tape marks. And it looks like crap. If I try to clean this, it's just going to be a fool's errand. I won't be able to clean it. I'll take a wire wheel and kind of wire wheel around these things. We're just right up here. But I'm going to tape this with black heat tape, the header tape. And that'll make it look better. The baffle is up in the attic. And that looks pretty good actually. Kind of like this, it looks alright. But that has to get done, and then I have to mount the header pipe up there. I think that takes like 2 hours, I forget. The oil gauge, polish, mount, oil rocker, stator, rocker cover things. Alright, these things, they go right here. And there's an O-ring that goes on these two little things here, and they stick into these holes. And this is where you take the rocker arm, the rocker shaft out, so you can get the rockers off. I left these unpainted because I wanted to polish them. I had a different one, and I polished them, and it looked really nice. So I need to polish these and put these back on. Once these are back on, then I can put oil in the engine and spin it over. If I try to spin it over now, the oil pump will start going and pump oil out of those holes, so that's no good. So if I want to spin the engine over, I got to deal with those. Yes, so then see that the starter works. So once all the electrical is done and I put those things on there, put oil in it, oil gauge, then I can check if the starter is working. I know it works on this engine, but I just get it to the point where I can spin the engine with the starter, hopefully with the push button. Then mount the coils. Coils go in here, and it's an assembly, and if they worked previously, they should work just fine again, hopefully. So that assembly goes right in here. It just takes a moment, I think. So then get the coils, and then I want to be able to check to have spark. Okay, then I'm going to put all new cables in, so I have a whole new cable kit that I bought, which was not all that expensive. There's the carbs that I'm using. Alright, so I gotta put all the cables in there. At some point I have to switch out the grips. Clean up these shafts, they look kind of crappy. Gotta polish that again, gotta polish those a little bit more. Alright, so anyway, so then I'm at the point where I have spark and all the cables are done, and then basically check carb jets. Right, so when you have pod filters, so I'm not going to have the stock air box. When you have pod filters and you have a 4-to-1 exhaust on these, they run super lean, so you have to change the pilot jet, the idle jet. And I know the number of jet to use for the other style carburetors. These are the newer style carburetors. So I need to check what jets are on here. I did buy the jets for this carburetor 3 years ago, and I think I know where they are. I might have gotten them down already, but I have to go find those. So I have to see what's in it. It had a Kirker on it when I bought it, and I don't think it had the stock airbox, but I don't remember. The carburetors on that one came out of a different one that I got out of Maine, and the engine was no good, but the bike did run, and that bike initially had a Kirker on it. So that's why I suspect that maybe those carbs are jetted already, if that makes any sense at all. So this is a different engine. Yeah, this is a totally different engine. I have carbs that work with this engine. They're upstairs, but the correct carbs are the ones that are in there. There's two different style carbs for CB550. The ones that are on the Super Sport are different. So 1974, 75, they have one style carb, and then 76, 77, the Super Sport stayed with that older style carb, and the K model 77, 78 used that style carb. That style carb has a choke cable, which I bought on eBay for this bike, or I took it off this parts bike I bought a long time ago. Probably I did that. Yeah, that's what I did. The older style carb just has that, like a thing on the side of the carbs, and you pop them all up and down and on. Got two seats. I'll pick which seat I want. They're upstairs. The sprocket cover has been vapor blasted a while ago, and I need to polish it. I'm going to do a half-ass polishing job on that. Stick it on there and get rid of it. Now, how much of this work? And then I have to put the Kirker baffle on. Polished this bar a while ago. This was the original bar. Bar hangs off of here. I think there's an extension piece that's supposed to come off of here. So I don't know if I'll use this or try to come up with some other thing. But yeah, I'll have to put the baffle on. This is the clamp that holds the baffle on. That is an old side cover graphic. And then I got a bunch of different Honda graphics here for the gas tank. So here's some new graphics for the side covers. I do have this bike. This bike was painted years ago. It's been sitting around, and I just have to get it all together. I would actually like to drive it. So, and then at some point I need to. That's actually not too bad. I had a hard time. I think I rebuilt this cylinder, this master cylinder, and then I had a hell of a time trying to get the damn thing to have brakes. I have a new one of these lines because that looks a little gritty. This front caliper is new brake pads. Whatever. Okay, enough talking. Let's actually get some work done here. these. Start with the black. Kind of did this one already a little bit. You can see it's got a lot of wax still on it. Using the polishing wheel is going to take forever, and I'm going to fall back to what I do a lot of times, which is just use some mothers and a gray scotch pad. Yeah, well, the mothers just isn't bringing any shine to it. So I went back to the polisher. So now I've gone, so you go black, and then this is brown, and then there's a blue, and then a white. I think I'll do the brown and the blue. I won't bother doing the white. So you can see it looks much shinier. So it's in the right direction. Alright, well, that's the blue. That's the brown. It's a tiny bit better. You can see the metal. See all those grooves in there? All the little imperfections. It's all, you know, corrosion. Probably sand some of it out, but I'm not going to do that. So I'll hit this one with the blue, and then that's enough. Alright, let's put these O-rings on. Looks pretty good. Alright, so I have this one to work off of as a guide. Pretty sure that it mounts like that. So this thing mounts to the side, like yo, and I did actually clean it off a little bit, but it doesn't make much of a difference. Alright, so I cleaned and polished the washers. Okay, so that's on there. Then the voltage rectifier goes on the bottom. I'll take a minute and clean this off. Trying to copy this, which seems to have the flasher terminal go through like that. This probably holds it in better. Alright. Okay, so that one's in. This thing can go in. Looks like that goes there. This goes here. This goes here. Looks like this one was plugged into this. Okay. This is quite different than this one. These ones have like pin style. Okay. Solenoid. Make sure the solenoid is good. That's a keeper. Alright, so where did this go? Ah, there we go. So this is quite different, yes. So this has a fuse thing here. Right, let's see. Fuse box does not go there. This goes there. So safety starting unit goes there. Does this even go to this bike? This must plug into the harness. So we've got a 6-pin and a 6-pin. This has an 8-pin and this has a 12-pin. So let's see what's on the harness. Right, so here's the red one. So those two plug into those two connectors. Here's the 8-pin that needs to be cleaned. And then the 12-pin is on the stator. Right. Fine. Okay. So I'm not sure where the fuse box mounts to. We got one there. So that's where the panel mounts to. This mounts to the panel, and then where does this mount to? They have to be accessible. Definitely goes like this. So that definitely goes like that. Oh, here we go. There's two holes right here. So that goes like this, and And this goes like that. Right, so I need 2 bolts to hold that on and 2 bolts to hold this on. And I had a bunch of bolts and I put them somewhere, so I gotta go find them. Alright, so I believe that the negative terminal on the battery gets sandwiched into the frame there, into this bracket. think this is main power for everything. Pretty sure. So once that's hooked up, it goes live once I start plugging things in. This gasket is way too big. It's okay on this side. Cleaned up these coil wires a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and mount these. I think it just goes in here. Looks like it goes from the other side. Alright, so I'm piecing the wiring harness back together. So I've got taped up that part that was hanging out here. Electrical tape. This is the points and or the connection to the coils. Forgive the leaf blower noise. My neighbor is always outside working on his lawn whenever I have the garage doors open. It does not fail, and I'm not bitter about it. It is effing annoying though. Anyway, so this part here goes through here. It clips into this. And then these clip into these two here. And this is all the connections for the rear turn signals and brake light. All that stuff. So that all goes here. So it's very satisfying to watch things being plugged in. So I think this just plugs right in here. Okay. All right, so I got all those plugged up. I'll put like some of that wire sleeve stuff that I have over that later after everything's working. This is all plugged up. The points are plugged in. The rear brake switch is plugged in. The ignition switch is plugged in. Coils are plugged in. And all these connectors are plugged in. Alright, so now I got to deal with this spaghetti mess here. And since I have new cables, I will swap out the tack cable and the speedometer cable. I guess I'll do that first. And then the bucket has been sitting over here for 2 months, I think. Here's the freshly painted. Well, it's not really freshly painted. It was painted like 3 years ago. Okay, so that goes in here. And all that stuff kind of goes through there. So I got to mount that up. Yeah, so I have some hardware from the original. So here's the headlight that was on it. It's got some rust on the ring, and it's scratched there where it was dumped. There might be some rust inside the headlight, I'm not sure, but this came off a different one, and I'm pretty sure it's good. I'll test it before I put it on, but I'll take this headlight and use it on this one. So first I got to mount the bucket. I'll use that one's hardware to mount the bucket, and but before I do that, I will swap out the speedo and tack cables because I bought new ones. Some lube on there. High beam, low beam, works. Now I have to connect everything together. It all has to kind of push into the back. See, there's like a recess back here. So all this stuff has to like jam into the back, and then you put the headlight in. So it's going to take me a while to go through all that stuff. Let's see if anything comes on yet. Oh, oil light and neutral light. Okay. That's cool. Horn. Haha. Starter. No. Nope. No signals yet. So after, I don't know, probably been 45 minutes I've been playing with this. I thought everything plugged into everything, but I just cannot find a way to get the tail light to work when the lights are on. So what you want is when the lights are, so this has a switch that turns the lights on and off, and then there's a high-low beam. When you turn the lights on, you want the tail light to go on. I just cannot find any way, any combination that gets, where is it? This one. So this is the light power. And that has to be fed all over the place. And this is the tail light. So I just can't find a way to get all that to work. So I made this jumper to go from here into here and here. I don't know if that means anything to you, but that's what I did. Alright, so I think I've got everything working. And I just got to put the headlight back in. I'll go over it when I'm done. I couldn't get the last thing to get was the headlight was not working. The fuse, I took it out, put it back in a couple of times, and it started working. So it's corrosion. Alright. Alright, so neutral, oil light are working, starter works, horn, left turn signal right? Good. Okay, and then the lights. Got the marker lights and low beam and high beam. And it's very difficult to see it, but if I go like that, you'll see that there's a high beam light. Okay. Off, off, off. So, everything seems to be working. I'll put this in some wrap. And now I think I can put oil in it and spin the engine up. Let's see if it has spark. It should. You know, I don't know if I played with this thing here. The points plate. I don't think I moved it. I definitely took this wire off. Not sure. I'll definitely have to check that timing, but it should be good enough to fire if it has spark, to see if it has spark. And then, okay, so then once that's done, so I can put oil in it, spin it up, see if the oil pressure light goes out. Oh, the brakes. Right, so front brake and rear brake. I don't have the little thing hooked up, but it's working. I gotta put this on there. Okay, so put oil in it, spin it up, see if the both builds oil pressure, and then check for spark. And if it does, I'm good. The next step is exhaust and carburetors. And I gotta get the clutch cable on there. Okay. Okay, let's see if it builds oil pressure. So we want this red light to go out. Hook up my jump pack. Oh, there we go. Let it sit, and it'll come back on, and good, there we go, good. Awesome, okay, so do I have spark? Let's find that out. I don't see anything. I hear something, sounds like spark, but I don't see anything. Okay, that definitely has spark. So 2, 3 have spark. I didn't see it on 4. So it's 1 and 4 are on one coil, and 2 and 3 on the other coil, just like the KZ1000. Yeah, I don't see it. Let me check the points, if the points are opening. see 2 and 3 are going bananas. I don't see any spark out of 1.4. So I think I will check the gap. All right, let's try this again. So this is 2.3. This was working previously. So that's got spark. And here's 1.4. So the problem was the point gap for 1.4. The points weren't opening enough. So I had to adjust that. And then when I was down there, I readjusted the timing. So it should fire up easy enough. Alright, so the plugs are in, so now it'll have compression. Let's see what it sounds like with compression. Sounds good. Okay. What do you think? Little starting fluid? Wide open throttle. See if it starts up. Looks like I had some tape covering the exhaust port from when I painted it. Alright, so started. Good. Alright, that's it for today. I'm tired. Alright, so one of my favorite things to cross off things on my to-do list. Assemble electrical box and mount it. Battery negative and positive cables. Fix brake switch and harness. Did that. That was the solder. Tape up the harness. Wire headlight and hand controls. Key switch. Clutch lockout. Clean up and mount the stator. Done. Wrap the Kirker header pipe. Did not do that yet. Oil and oil gauge. Done. Polish and mount rocker arm shaft covers. Done. Starter works. Mount coils, yep. Have spark. Clutch cable, done. Check the carb jets. Tack and speedo cables, done. Choke cable, to do. Throttle cables, to do. So, let's make a new list. Wrap. Kirker. Header. Check. Carb. Jets. Mount. Carbs. Mount. Header. Right, throttle cables I'll do as part of that. Throttle cables and the choke cable. Choke. Cable. Okay. Then I have to set the vacuum on the carbs. That process, I forget what it's called. Idle, adjust carbs, seat, gas tank, and side covers. All right. A lot smaller list of a lot easier stuff to do. So, spent pretty much all weekend working on it. It's closer. Still not done. Hope maybe I can during the week fix it. All right, goodbye. Hey, well, thanks for watching the video. And I want to say I promise, but I shouldn't promise. But fairly certain that the next video will be the end of the CB550, and hopefully never have to see it again. And then the Z1R is still sitting in my shed with a bad coil, and I should have taken that thing out. Anyway, mid-October, it's starting to get cold. This is why I hate living in New England. You have a very small window where you can do stuff outside. Anyway, I'm not going to bitch about that. Thanks for watching. See ya.